as we speak right now, there's another guy speaking. Senator Ted Cruz from Texas is filibustering the House bill, which was going to defund Obamacare. It really has no chance of passing in the Senate, but he is filibustering nonetheless. Last I heard, Rand Paul was jumping in on it as well. And already yesterday, there were other Republicans that were railing against Ted Cruz in anticipation of this. Mitch McConnell was one of them. He said, "I just don't happen to think that filibustering a bill that defunds Obamacare is the best route to defunding Obamacare. All it does is shut down the government and keep Obamacare funded, and none of us want that. That would be the results of filibustering." So someone like Mitch McConnell's playing both sides of the coin here because he wants his base to think he's against Obamacare and then doesn't want them to go ahead with the filibuster and potentially stop it because he wants the crazies all the way on the right to keep backing him. What do you guys make of this split?
He used the words Obamacare in every sentence
several times. That's part of the plan.
That's funny.
That's part. What do you guys make of this split that's happening in the Republican Party, where there is the Tea Party guys, which now is led by Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, and they are all for defunding everything and making the government so small it can fit in a woman's womb, and then the sort of more mainstream guys like John Boehner and Mitch McConnell.
Well, you know, it's funny that Ted Cruz
mainstream guys like Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell.
Those are mainstream Republicans.
That's how
these days.
far to the right the Republican Party has switched or lurched. So, but people don't know Ted Cruz was a big basketball player in college. In fact, he was recruited because he was a shot blocker, except he blocked half the shots against his own team. And so they didn't win anything. And he's doing that again. He's filibustering, let's get this straight. He's filibustering the Republican bill.
That he encouraged. He said, do this, and then we'll stand with you in the Senate, and then said, okay, we won't stand with you in the Senate. And then those guys hated him.
Right. So just playing the devil's advocate for 1 second, is he at least being intellectually honest? No, not at any level.
He's the opposite.
No, but in that he wanted the bill to go through, and now he's at least saying, I know this isn't going to work in the Senate, but I'm going to still keep saying what I believe.
He's not even doing an intellectually honest filibuster. This isn't even a filibuster.
Right.
He's just talking. And then as soon as the time for the vote comes up, they're going to have the vote. He's not filibustering the vote. He's not delaying anything. He's grandstanding.
He's filibustering to try to get Harry Reid to agree that it will require 60 votes to pass a bill that takes the defunding the Affordable Care Act out. Harry Reid has no incentive to do that at all, so he won't do it. So it's not a real filibuster. You know, it was easy with the Republicans. I used to judge my enemies by who their enemies were, right? That always seemed to be a good way to do things. But now the Tea Party is mad at Ted Cruz. Mitch McConnell is mad at Ted Cruz. And I think by the transitive property of incompetent governance, we now are supposed to like Ted Cruz.
I kind of like him.
Right.
No, I mean, what he's doing right now is a gift to the Democrats.
It's a gift.
A gift to Barack Obama. It's just highlighting Republicans' obstruction for people getting health care. They're on the verge of getting health care. People who haven't been able to get health care for maybe their entire life. They're on the verge of getting it. It's about to happen. And they're standing in front of it and making and doing it in a loud way.
Well, do people not understand the irony of a guy who is in the Senate? You know, the Senate and the House, they get special health care that none of us get, right? And they get that for free and it's subsidized and all that good stuff. So a guy who gets special health care outside of what everybody else in the country gets is now filibustering to stop regular people from getting health care. Is that not lost on people?
I think it's lost on people because I don't think that point gets made terribly often in the
people don't
mainstream
realize
media.
that they get the special health care.
Also, Ted Cruz, you know, and he has this, you know, belief that because he was told as a kid that he's the anointed one, he's Jesus.
Yeah.
And so the fact that the Republicans, when the government shuts down, got their ass kicked every time on it. He's like, not when it was led by me.
Yep.
Right? So he thinks, no, I'll get it through, I'll win this. And they really think that this will be a loser for the president and for Obamacare. And even the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal has recognized that is just nonsensical talk.
Well, you've given me a great segue because the conservative page of the Wall Street Journal has recognized that this is nonsensical talk, and let's get into exactly what they said.
Did you mean to refer to it as the conservative page or the editorial page?
The conservative editorial page.
Oh,
How
okay.
is that? How
All
is
right.
that? Pretty good, right?
Yes.
They said when Mr. Cruz demands that House Republicans hold firm, he means they should keep trying to defund Obamacare, even if it results in a shutdown that President Obama will blame on Republicans. It's nice of him to volunteer House Republicans for duty. The supposedly intrepid General Cruz can view the battle from the comfort of HQ while the enlisted troops take any casualties. The Lee Cruz strategy, to the extent it's about more than fundraising lists or getting FaceTime on cable TV, seems to be that of if the House holds firm amid a shutdown, then the public will eventually blame Obama and the Democrats, who will then fold and defund Obamacare. Or, short of that, Democrats might agree to delay the health care law for another year past its launch date on October 1st. And here's the big part. Miracles happen, but it would rank as one for the ages if Obama agreed to defund his signature presidential achievement. A year's delay would also be a victory, but Mr. Obama knows that punting the law past 2014 is risky if Republicans regain a Senate majority. Okay, so it's very obvious that Ted Cruz is just doubling down on the Tea Party people for his own cred for 2016. Is that all this is about?
Ted Cruz wants to be on television and wants to be sort of the voice of the angry, ironically, of the angry white male. And also he now has ground to make up because these guys were furious at him last week and at Mike Lee of Utah for his saying, yeah, you guys do it. Just what the Wall Street Journal is saying. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Well, it's not going to pass the Senate. What do you want me to do? Right? And knows that if there's real blame, it'll probably go to, again, Republicans in general, and that he can become the standard bearer of the far right, which is, there's a good chance that he will, in fact, become the standard bearer of the far right. I think we're closer than ever to because I don't think that this alliance between mainstream Republicans who appear overwhelmed, outmatched, and they appear outnumbered. I don't think that this alliance with the Tea Party, who has no interest in the government or governing, I don't think it can last. I mean, ironically, I mean,
it's barely hanging on by a thread.
I feel like I sort of always felt abstractly that if there were a third party to emerge in the country, that it would sort of come from the left, but it's not gonna. And the third party is going to be at some point the party of the John Boehner types. Boehner won't be around for it, but those guys.
Yeah, so you think that there's going to be a hard right party and then a centrist party?
And that centrist party, if they do their business right, because of the lack of attention that Americans pay to politics and the specifics of politics, and the incompetence of the Democrats to sort of stand for anything progressive, or the unwillingness rather than incompetence of Democrats to stand for anything strong on the left, that party will win elections. They won't win in 2016, they won't win in 2020, but if they were to do things right, this idea that, here's some mainstream guys who worry about Wall Street, want to get the economy started, don't want to overspend, but they're not going to shut down the government or anything like that, they'll win. They'll win. And that'll be a great day for Citibank and Exxon.
Right. Ben has hope for this imaginary day, probably in about 12 or 14 years.
In the meantime, though, we'll coast in 2016 and 2020. But then they'll figure it out, and they'll win.
Are you pitching a movie right now?
Yeah, what's going on here? He definitely.
This is definitely sci-fi fantasy.
I don't think that this alliance is, do you? It's sustainable.
You know, they're just nuts, right? So they're just, and it's a smaller part of their party than I think
that's the possibility that it
But
won't
the
be.
Republicans have kind of semi-screwed themselves because now that the Republican districts are so safe because of the gerrymandering that took place after the 2010 election, that it's going to be hard to get rid of these maniacs on the right right? So that is their problem, that they've so surrounded them in these safe districts that it's going to be hard to purge the party of them, which is what is going to. I think it's going to happen that way.
Right.
It's not going to happen
So
the other
maybe
way.
the party becomes them,
Big money.
and then the splinter group is the Boehners and the McConnells.
That's actually what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what emerges is the new
No,
party.
I think the big money's going to come in and squash the Tea Party.
If they recognize that, hey, wait, this might be like 12% of us.
Yeah.
Like maybe we can figure out a way.
They're going to squash. It's not
crush
the
these
majority.
guys.
It's not Karl Rove. It's not Fox News. It's not Mitch McConnell. Even these guys.
What will be interesting, to your point, is what if there starts being primary challenges from old school Republicans to Tea Party guys? Like, I don't know. But but whatever it is, this alliance cannot hold.
Right.
And whether it holds with a third party or whether it holds from the old school, and the old school because it has the full backing of, as I said, of Citibank and Exxon and all their friends. they probably have the power to crush. But in the meantime, they're going to keep losing to guys who don't even know how to win.
Right.
Yes.
And then those guys
keep winning after you keep fumbling.
Yes.
I guess we'll pick it up and run into the end
like the
zone.
Right, and then those
against
guys all
Bears.
get kicked out, like Allen West. So
That's
so
right.
there you go.
I gave one alternative. Jimmy's given another. But I don't think we're going to have the Tea Party mainstream Republican fight happening in 8 years. I think it has to resolve itself.